We're going to be talking about raising up our standards, because many of us in life have allowed our standard to fall beneath our potential. And for whatever reason, we're not living up to our potential. We're not living up to our standards. So I want you all to go with me in the book of Isaiah, chapter 59, and we're going to just talk about these standards, because it does you no good in life to have all this potential and not fulfill that potential. Because the Lord wants us to be a people that truly challenges ourselves each and every day to live up to the highest potential that we have, to fulfill within our lives everything that the Lord has equipped us to be. So in Isaiah chapter 59 and verse 19, we'll start right there, verse 19. It says, "So shall they fear the name of the Lord from the west, and his glory from the rising of the sun. And when the enemy shall come in like a flood, the Spirit of the Lord shall lift up a standard against him. And when the enemy shall come in like a flood, the Spirit of the Lord shall lift up a standard in him." And we understand that a standard is something that we use to measure or compare or evaluate our lives against. So the Lord wants us to have this particular standard that we live by and not just settle for things, because often we find ourselves just settling for things. And I know early on I worked as an engineer, and my role was to work into the soils lab. And I used to have to test the soil that was going to be used for highway construction or bridge construction. And in there, as an engineer, one thing we wanted to do with the soil was we wanted to check for the amount of moisture that was in it so we could compact it, so that when you lay the asphalt or concrete on top of it, it wouldn't settle. So we would test the soil, send it out to the fields to the contractors, tell them how much moisture to use so that it would be packed tight, so there'd be no settling. And the worst thing you want on the highway is when you put pressure on it or put weight on it, it settles. And that's what happened with a lot of our lives. When the devil put pressure on us, we begin to settle. It's like our lives are not so compact in what we believe that the devil or individuals or friends can get us to get off course very easily. But the Lord wants us to stay fixed. He wants us to have a mindset to say, you know, I'm just not going to settle for this in life. I'm worth more. I have more potential. And I'm just not going to take third and fourth best in life, because I'm doing my life a disjustice when I do that. So I'm just not going to be a settler. And when temptations come and when pressures come, I'm going to raise my standard. I'm not going to lower my standard because of pressure. I'm going to raise my standard. So today I want to go over with you 5 reasons people lower their standards. Why people settle. The first one is they don't believe they can do any better. A lot of us settle because we don't feel we can do any better. A lot of times it's because of what friends have said, what parents may have said. And speaking to some of you parents out there, the worst thing you can do is tell your child what they can't do. Because those words have power. When they hear those words, they begin to believe that maybe I can't do it. So what you want to do is encourage them, because encouragement is a good thing. But a lot of us, we find ourselves settling because of what friends may say. They say, well, you can't do that. You ain't equipped to do that. Or why you want to do this? Or why you want to do that? So we find ourselves settling beneath our potential because of the pressure of friends. The other reason is some of us have low self-esteem. Our self-esteem, how we feel about ourselves, is very, very low. And because we have this low self-esteem, we can't see ourselves doing any better. And in order to obtain something in life, you have to see yourself with it. You have to already see yourself with it so you can speak that thing over your life. You know, there's a lot of, and speaking to the young kids out there, a lot of you who have fallen away from your education, should be still in college, but fallen away from it because of low self-esteem. You don't feel good about yourself, so you're allowing yourself to settle. God doesn't want us to be a people that settle. He don't want pressures to cause us to just give up on the greater part of life that he's called us to be a part of. So a lot of us do settle because we don't believe we can do any better. Or sometimes people feel that God is punishing them. They feel that the Lord is just against me. The Lord don't want me to have anything good. Or maybe I went out and I did something, and because of that, the Lord is punishing me on behalf of what I've done. And a lot of us have that mindset. But I counsel people who believe that they're being punished by the Lord. You know, if something bad happened in their life or something tragic, they feel that the Lord is punishing them. So another reason people don't live up to their potential is because of previous failures. They have a fear of failure. So they live their life with a lot of uncertainties. I'm not sure I can do this. I don't think this is going to work for me. And they set themselves up to fail before they even start because of what they speak out of their own mouth. Because death and life is in the power of the tongue. And you should have what you say. So I often hear people say to themselves, I can't do this, or I won't be able to do that. And words are so powerful because words cause your body to act. Because before you do anything, you're going to hear yourself say it. Even if you was to get up to have to go to the restroom, you're going to hear yourself say it before you do it. Because everything acts off of a word. And when you say things to yourself negatively, it produces a negative outcome with your life. You start to acting on those very words because words control and create. God created everything with a word. And we create our own destinies with our words. So we have to speak to ourselves, calling those things as not as though they were. We have to speak to ourselves. We have to speak prosperity over our life. We have to speak destiny over our lives. Y'all hear me? Y'all understand? It's very important that you control what you say about yourself. If you don't have anything good to say about yourself, don't say nothing about yourself. Let somebody else speak good over you. If you can't control your tongue to speak good over your own life, say nothing about your life. Let someone else pray and speak over you. So again, previous failures, fear of failures, uncertainties, or fearful of what others may say. A lot of times we have a tendency to hold back on doing something because we fear what someone else may say about us. And I met young kids in school when I used to go there and do counseling in the schools with some of the troubled youth. And the peer pressure, even though they probably could have studied and got a better grade, but because someone would call them brainihead, they failed to use their full potential because they wanted to be part of a status quo. Although that status quo was way beneath their potential. But they wanted to be a part of something so bad that they was willing to forfeit their potential, lower their standard so that others could speak well of them. And even as young adults and even as full adults, we still have that same fear of what others will say. Because, believe it or not, we all want people to speak well of us. We all want to do things that others can relate to and connect to so that they can connect with us. But that may not be what God has called us to do. Regardless of what others will say, do what it is that the Lord has called you to do, and you'll always win favor with him. Because man's favor comes and goes, the Lord's favor remains.